Hi friends, it's Miss Perkins. I'm going to read you a book called The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. It's a book about taking care of the earth. So, here we go. There's the Lorax right there. Here we go. The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where their Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters. And sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He tells you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snoove, his secret strange hole in his grooveless groove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Down slurps the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. What do you notice about this page? Looks different, right? Back here, it's all dark and dreary. The beginning of the story, it's bright, happy, right? All right, here we go. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swummy swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffula trees. Look at them all. Aren't they beautiful? The bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. It's a brown barbaloot right there. From the nupulous pond came the comfortable sound of humming fish humming while splashing around. That says Onceler Wagon, and this was the Onceler back in the day. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. What do you spy happening? I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. Want to make a prediction? What's he going to do with all those things? Uh-oh. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. Could you describe him? Who's that guy? Yes, it's the Lorax. He was shortish and oddish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said, with a sawdusty sneeze, "I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. "What's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft?" He wants to know what the Onceler made here, right? Do you know what it is? "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I am being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed." But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along. It's a person. And he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy." So that's the money that the chap or the man gave him for the thneed. "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. Shut up, if you please. He was not very nice or kind with those words. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawk and sharp right at South Stitch." So you never fully see him, right? Just arms, and he's right there on the phone. Look at the Lorax's concerned face. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Oh, there they go, chop, 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 chop. Thneeds, that's the factory. And look, the trees are being carted in, chopped down by what appears to be a horse or donkey or a mule. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which was whacked off of 4 truffula trees at one smacker. Oops. It's like a tongue twister. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. See how it's chopping 4 at a time? One over here. Yikes, it's a lot. It says Onceler in Chief Private, and that's the factory over there for the thneeds. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please." He's talking to him. "But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." "They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies in tummies, you know. There they go. There's that thneed factory. Looks what's happening here. You see less and less trees and more stumps. I meant no harm. I mostly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagon. I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Also, notice what's happening now with the sky, right? Back here, look at the sky, right? Beautiful day. Look at the difference in the color. It's getting, what? Yes, darker. And here's a sign that says you need thneeds. I don't know. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. Gripes are complaints. I'm the Lorax, he coughed and whiffed. He sneezed and snuffled, and he snaggled, and he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crufulous croak. Onceler, you're making such a smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. So, this is the smog. Okay, it's coming from the pipes up into the air, and it's dirtying up the air that what are they called again? The swami swans are trying to breathe that. So is the Lorax. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. When will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog. See up here? You've smoggled up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up, meaning he was really getting angry. Let me say for a few words about the gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stopping, making gluppity-glup, also schlippity-schlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old onceler, you. So, this is all that gluppity-glup and schluppity-schlup, right? He's pulling him by the hand to come see. It even comes out onto the floors and splatters everywhere. It's a mess. Uh-oh. Look at this page. It's gotten even darker. Let's see the goopity-goo and the schluppity-schlup. Look where it's going. Well, you're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Okay, look at that. Would you want to swim there? Don't think so. Now, look closely. You see how many trees have been chopped? Focus on this one. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall. The very last truffle tree of them all. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Here's the Thneeds factory, and they're all you need a Thneed trucks leaving. No more trees, no more Thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left, 'neath the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. There he is. Oop. There he is. All right, here we go. Remember the beginning? The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. It's like a quick look. Just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself. See how he's doing that? By the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim, like really sad, look on his face when he hoisted himself up and took leave of this place. Through a hole in the smog, without leaving a trace. I mean, he went right through there, and you couldn't see another thing again. He didn't leave anything else behind. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word: unless. Think about that. Unless what? I bet you know. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. So, it did get that old Onceler thinking. What do you think he's thinking if he's worrying, finally? But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here. Okay, so this is a child here, but this book is for all the children. The word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Remember that word? Unless. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last truffula seeds, and the truffula trees are what everyone needs. Notice how he changed his mind about that? Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all his friends may come back. So the challenge is for all of you to be like that child. If you had the last seed, what would you do to try to bring back the Lorax and the truffula trees? I hope you'll make the right decision. I know you will. Bye.